you would be losing out on like at least like, you know, $1,000 worth of points. That wouldn't work, guys. So this is what I'm telling you. Like, this is why you have to strategize when it comes to travel hacking. You just can't go, you know. Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? It's your girl Niqua of Traveling with Niqua, and I am back on your screen with one of my favorite topics as today's video topic, and that is about travel hacking. So if you guys follow me, you know, on Instagram and my Facebook page, you already know that I talk about travel hacking and just basically telling you guys like, okay, I paid for this flight with miles, or I did this, or, you know, this is how I save money on paying for whatever, right, in regards to travel. But I wanted to just kind of come on here and kind of do like an intro to travel hacking type video to tell you like what travel hacking is and what it is not, and then kind of just give like some general things for you to keep in mind when you want to start looking into travel hacking and stuff like that. I'm not really going to be recommending like CADs or anything like that. This is just going to be some intro information and then also some really good tips for things that you need to keep in mind when it comes to travel hacking. So let's get right into it. So first things first, what the heck is travel hacking and what does that even mean? And no, it's not a scam, okay? It's not a scam, it's legit. So what travel hacking is, for most people, when they hear the word travel hacking or when they describe what travel hacking is, people talk about travel hacking in the sense of reward points and travels like through credit card bonus points, right? So what that means is that a lot of these major credit card companies, and specifically also like maybe the hotels and the airlines, etc., they have specific cards that are for travel rewards, right? And what they do is they basically offer you, the consumer, a lump sum of bonus points to be able to meet what is called a minimum spend on the card during a specific time frame that you would then get rewarded. When you spend a certain amount of money, you would then get rewarded with a lump sum of points, right? And depending on the card that you have, you may be able to use that to redeem for flights, hotels, rental car. It may just be an airline card specific. So you would be able to get like their bonus miles and be able to fly, you know, for free using those miles, of course, but you have to pay like, you know, like the little bit of taxes and fees that would come with redeeming an award flight. People say travel hacking, that's literally what they are referring to for the most part. Another way that I also talk about travel hacking is when I utilize the budget airlines and purchasing like tickets at the airport counters to be able to get a discounted fare on the regular ticketed price. So that's another way that I also travel hack, but we're really not going to be talking about that today. The main focus is going to be about like the credit cards and, you know, what they are and how to really use them and how to get into travel hacking. So now that you know like what travel hacking is by like definition, we're going to go into some things that you want to keep in mind, you know, when you are getting into travel hacking. So one thing with travel hacking is because you are getting credit cards, you definitely need to make sure that your credit score is at least in like the high, say like a 680, 690 credit score and up, possibly be able to be approved for like, you know, your first like travel credit card, right? So you would want to make sure that first your credit score is at least somewhere in that range. If you actually go on websites such as Nerd Wallet and the Points Guy, they would give you an example of an estimate range of if you at least have this amount of credit score, you would possibly be able to be approved. Of course, getting approved for a credit card has a lot of other different factors as well. It's not just your credit score. You have to also consider like, you know, your inquiries that you've had, you know, in the past or like more like recently, you know, what your credit limit looks like. things like that. So it's not just about the score, but that's something that you would want to keep in mind prior to like just going into travel hacking just completely blind. Okay. The next thing that you would want to consider with travel hacking is figuring out if the card that you are trying to get has what is called an annual fee. So one thing people don't really talk about with travel hacking is, yes, you kind of pay an annual fee for some of the credit cards. Not everyone has an annual fee, but most of the ones that has like really, really good perks, they do have an annual fee. I've seen annual fees on like airline credit cards for like $69, as low as like $69. And then I've seen annual fees like as high as like $695, right? You as the consumer would then need to decide like, is this annual fee worth it? And what an annual fee is, it's very simple. They would just charge you like that. It's kind of like, think about it as like a membership fee. That's how I think about it. So think about it as a membership fee that you're paying to be able to use this card and get all of the, the benefits that comes with the card. So on top of getting like the lump sum bonus points, each card has their own, perks and things that you can get throughout the year that you can use the card for to be able to leverage for travel hacking purposes. Okay. So you would want to consider like if you're willing to pay an annual fee and how much you're willing to pay. How I calculate some of the benefits of an annual fee is what perks am I getting from that card, right? So I do have cards that I pay annual fees, but I think right now I only have like 3 cards that has an annual fee, and I always like, figure out like, okay, is it worth it to pay an annual fee, and like what that annual fee even is, to be honest, because like you need to know. Like before you try to get into travel hacking, like you need to look up, maybe the card that you were trying to get and like figure out like what is it going to cost you. Of course, there are ways that you can lower your annual fee and things like that by either downgrading or just calling into the consideration line and kind of asking for like, like a credit, whatever, but that could be a whole other video. So the annual fee would be something that you would want to obviously consider. Then the next thing that you would want to consider is what card are you going to get? Is it going to be a general card where you can use it for like the flights, hotels, car rental? Is it going to be just specific to an hotel chain or, brand? Or is it going to be specific for just flights, right? So as I said before, there are different categories of the type of cards that you can use to travel hack with. I have a combination where I've had cards where it's just for like that specific airline, and then I also have a card where I can use it for flights, hotels, and even like car rentals and things like that. So that will be something that you would want to consider. So that goes into my next point. When it comes to travel hacking, you don't just go applying for all type of random cards, right? Just because you saw like some nice benefits. You need to decide on how you're getting the card and why you're getting the card. One of the things that I always do when I am finding out my new card that I'm going to be travel hacking with is I work backwards. So I figure out first, like, where do I want to go and kind of like who's flying there, what hotel chains are there, for example, and then I work backwards. Another thing is that you want to decide, like, what are you trying to travel hack? Are you trying to travel hack the entire trip? Are you just trying to travel hack the flights for the trip? Are you just trying to travel hack the hotels? What are you actually trying to travel hack? Because that can also help you with narrowing down like the CAD that you're going to be working on to be able to travel hack for that specific trip. So let's just say, for example, you wanted to go somewhere specific, but you got a CAD that is a Southwest branded airline CAD, and the place that you want to go to don't even have Southwest flying there. That wouldn't work, guys. So this is what I'm telling you. Like, this is why you have to strategize when it comes to travel hacking. You just can't go, you can't just go applying for just random credit cards and just being like, oh yeah, I'm travel hacking. Like, no, you need to have a strategy for travel hacking. And you also don't, apply for a new card like every single month. You need to have a strategy in regards to that, as time in your cards to make sure that you are really maximizing your CAD strategy with getting the right cards at the right time. Okay, so that's definitely, you know, one of my biggest tips when it comes to travel hacking and getting, you know, your strategy. So then the next thing, before you even apply for a card, you also need to make sure that you know everything that you have to do to be able to get these bonus points, right? So remember, I said that a lot of the times the way people are able to easily begin travel hacking is because they are after like the big bonus points. So as an example, when I got my Chase Sapphire preferred card at the time, which was like 4 years ago, at the time they had a bonus sign up of you spent a certain amount of money within that time, which is like your minimum spend. So let's say they normally try to give you like 3 months to spend X amount of money, and then they give you, you know, points as like your reward, right? So when I got into the travel hacking game, that was actually one of my first CADs that I applied for and used to be able to travel hack. I still have that CAD, and I've definitely been using it like every single year to leverage those points by booking flights with like partner airlines. Because for example, the Chase Sapphire preferred CAD, it actually allows you to transfer points to some of the what they consider as like partners, right? So for example, if I see a flight on JetBlue and it's like 10,000 JetBlue, you know, points, and then on the Chase website it's 11,000, I can actually transfer 10,000 points from my Chase to the JetBlue account and then get the flight obviously for cheaper by booking it directly with JetBlue. But I use my Chase Ultimate Reward points to be able to do that one-to-one transfer. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier when I kind of mentioned that you kind of have to decide the category of CAD that you want. The Chase Sapphire Preferred is the CAD that I use to be able to leverage, because I don't have a JetBlue CAD, but because Chase is a direct transfer, I can use my Chase points to be able to book, you know, JetBlue flights. So the next thing I want to talk about is meeting the actual minimum spend. So as I basically alluded to a little earlier, is they tell you that you have to spend X amount of dollars in a specific time frame. So if they're telling you that you need to be able to get 60,000 bonus points, you need to be able to spend $4,000 in a 3-month time frame. You need to first, before you even apply for the CAD, right? You need to first make sure that you even have the expenses, $4,000 within the 3-month frame to be able to use this CAD for, okay? One of the ways that I know personally that I have been able to meet minimum spends is just lining up some of my large expenses. So for example, if you have like a car insurance policy and like your 6 months policy is about to renew, that could be a good way that you can use that like large expense to gain spending towards your minimum spend, right? So even me as like a business owner, like if I have inventory to purchase, that's definitely something that's a little unique to me, but you know, that's a way that I have also met an minimum spend. If I have like big travel coming up as well, I, you know, would have a card where I could use to put a lot of those expenses on there and get the minimum spend knocked out. I literally never apply for a travel reward credit card if I know that I cannot get the minimum spend met to be able to get the bonus points, because you literally would be losing out on like at least like, you know, $1,000 worth of points. If you don't know how to make the minimum spend, if you don't have the plan to meet the minimum spend, then do not apply for the CAD. So one of the things that I would literally do is sit down and map out, okay, I have 3 months, I'm gonna try to get the CAD, let's say in November, and then like I have 3 months to be able to meet this minimum spend. So like from November to December, that's 1 month, December to January, that's 2 months, and then, you know, January to February, that's the 3rd month. So I would then figure out, okay, in that time, what kind of expenses do I have? And then I would start, you know, diverting all of my expenses to that one CAD. So my groceries, I would be putting like whatever bills that I can put on there, I would put them on there. And then of course you need to be paying off your CAD. So once you figure out the plan for meeting your minimum spend, that's then you're kind of like, you're like, okay, I know what the CAD that I want is. I know if it has an annual fee or not. I know what the minimum spend is. I know what the perks are. I check the approval, the estimate approval rating for like the credit score for this specific CAD, and I may be in that range or I'm above like that range that they're suggesting. So these are one of the things that you want to consider. I know where I'm trying to go or what I'm trying to achieve by getting this travel CAD. So I think I'm ready to get the CAD. So that's literally some of the things that you would want to consider when you are trying to get into travel hacking, all the things that I talked about before. And then one of the last things, of course, is what I kind of just already touched on. You should not be travel hacking if you do not have a good handle on your debt, especially like credit card debt. And what I mean by good handle is that, you're not in like default, you're not like, behind on like bills or really racking up like tons of credit card debt every single month, because this strategy with travel hacking definitely requires you to have a lot of financial discipline, because if you're not disciplined, you can find yourself getting credit cards to travel hack and you're getting into debt. And I'm speaking from, the finance side of things. If you guys know, I do have a personal finance business, Financially Winning. So I have worked with clients, or just I know people just in general who have tried to get into the travel hacking game, but they did not get a handle of their finances prior to doing so. And that caused them, unfortunately, to get into debt. So it just means that when you are planning to get into the travel hacking game, you want to make sure that you are already, in a good habit of paying off your credit cards, paying your bills on time, things like that. So one of the rules of travel hacking is literally never leave a balance, okay? Because if you're getting charged interest by not paying off your balance in full, that's like, it offsets and defeats the complete purpose of travel hacking, okay? Like, you would literally be getting these reward points, but then you're paying the credit card interest because you were not able to pay off the balance that you racked up to be able to get those points, okay? So always keep that in mind as well when it comes to getting into travel hacking. That's all I have for today's video. I hope that this was a great like introduction video to travel hacking and just some overall tips that you guys can definitely use when you are trying to get into the travel hacking game. I'm definitely going to be posting a lot more videos and things like that about travel hacking that I have like, on my content calendar. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you want to continue learning more. And as always, follow me like on Instagram and Facebook, where I, of course, post this content on a weekly basis on all sorts of different travel tips, tricks, and strategies to help you travel more. See you guys.